Hello everybody, this is Mike Ricardo's Make Hobby, and today I'm back with some more Higurashi when they cry Watanagashi. So let's just begin. These sorts of things, they're printed realistically in the literature of Germany, capital of the medical world. These aren't carpentry tools. Oh yeah, basically last time they kind of snuck into the Furude shrine because, well, everyone else distracted and why not? No, they just were Takano was interested to see what's going on, and Keiichi and Shion followed them, thinking that they're about to have sex when they are actually about to break into somewhere. So let's just continue. These strangely shaped tools, therefore, dissection. Everyone knows that in the Edo period, they would dissect the corpses of those who had been put to death in order to gain knowledge about the Western medical techniques. Illustrations of the dissecting tools they used at the time came up in the textbook supplements. The things hung up on this wall all looked exactly the same as those.
If you want to scare you while you're looking at it, think of them as your cooking utensils.
Takano-san, holding the lantern, the only light source in the room, led us along the wall. She had the only light, so I had to walk after her whether I liked it or not.
Look.
Takano-san illuminated a coil chain which left a bigger impression than the other things we saw. The chain itself was nothing unusual, but far along it was metal fetters that were like hinges, clearly meant for binding people.
Kei-chan! Look at that!
Shion tapped me on the shoulder and pointed to our straining table that was clearly shaped like a person. My spine froze. My blood felt like it was turning into sherbet as it crawled up my back. On each of the joints, there were things like chains and iron balls attached. It was like the table was searching for its next sacrifice, ready to spread their arms wide and close them in.
It's probably a chopping block. I think you strapped the sacrifice down and prep them for eating.
The words chopping block sent a bolt through my body. When I looked more closely, there are many dark slices carved into it, as though from a knife or a saw.
English!
There are the most clear-cut signs of usage you could ask for. It proved these tools were not just for show. They were used for their original purpose. If someone was strapped tightly onto this table, they probably wouldn't be able to move even a muscle. Their guts would be defenseless. You take one of those eerie-looking knives lined up over there, and stab them with it. And then you slice open their belly and dissect them. I'd heard the stories.
But this is incredible.
Before coming in here, Shion had mentioned she had a good guess at what was inside, but it seems to have exceeded her imagination. Oh, that was Shion, not Takano. Oops.
There's still more. How about it? More fascinating than a wax museum, isn't it?
Tako-san had this happy expression like she was visiting the toy store for the first time. I don't get it. This Neo Takano person has nerves of steel. Are these bizarre, grotesque objects that were fascinating to her? I, for one, was not enjoying myself. I'll be frank. This was all too weird for me. Still, there's something even more horrifying than all this. That would be none other than Takano-san herself. Takano-san, holding the lantern, giving out such a thin beam of light. I'm not good at reading today, guys. I'm sorry. Takano-san, holding the lantern, giving off such a thin beam of light. If she suddenly had turned it off, then what would we do then? The next moment, everything went totally dark. That's why I was so scared. Takano-san had the only light, and anyways, I was scared. At some point, Shion started holding onto my shirt sleeve. It was a little annoying to walk like that, but I didn't shake her off. That minor sensation allowed me to feel the presence of an ally, here and now. Before we even had walked halfway through the storehouse, the air I felt on my skin changed completely. These cruel tools lined up, all crammed together in this place. Some were horrible ones made to take away a sacrifice's freedom, and some tools were made to officially disassemble and prepare for the bodies for consumption. Okay, so, where did the eating front come from? That's my biggest question. Where did the eating come from? Those were just things I understood. There were plenty other strange-looking objects that I couldn't even guess the purpose of. Now that I was here, I didn't have the slightest desire to hear the details about what sort of terrifying reasons they were meant to be used for. At the very least, they were all completely a different form of clean, simple. They were all completely different from the sort of clean, simple function of a katana. Tools to kill people were obviously constructed in such a way that they could kill people. If that was the goal, then the person used them on would obviously end up dead. Speaking the obvious! These kinds of tools here, however, were different. The tools that were here were for cutting people, for crushing them, for boiling them and cooking them, and for grinding them. They were tools of torture. They weren't made to kill people. People dying was just an incidental result. Actually, they might not even kill them. If the sacrifices could die in such a horrifying ritual process, that would be nice, but they don't even die in the end. They remain in a state of hellish pain. Perhaps they were only being allowed to live. Only now, in this moment, did I fully realize just how terrifying and fearsome that difference was.
People, you see, most of these wouldn't kill them if used properly.
Takuto-san, as if reading my mind, displayed a shocking smile.
Burning at the stake, the famous method of execution for riches will kill the person immediately. When the body suffers extreme burns on the skin all over, the decomposition of the skin's chemical makeup process produces poison-like systems and causes an immense shock to the victim. Though, as the spores are still very cool compared to the guillotine, you have to wait for far longer for that to happen.
She described such horrors in a strangely medical way. Shion immediately answered the question I had. Takano-san is a nurse. There's a saying that could scare a There's nothing that could scare a doctor. I guess that's true. Well, some doctors see my penis, so, well, they're probably scared of me. Wow, that was a very bad roast on myself.
Oh, and also, there was a method of execution in ancient Rome that they would grill the person, just like a barbecue. They would cover the person in a wire netting and slowly cook them over a charcoal fire.
That's not that bad. I know some different ways of torture that I'm not going to describe right here in this video because Takano-san is taking my stuff. So yeah, to think the memories of when I went to a day camp with my family would come back rushing now of all times so vividly. That's what it was like.
Apparently they didn't die too easily for some reason. According to one source, if they roasted one person to a crisp for an entire night, they'll still be conscious and able to speak fluently.
That's insane. You grill someone the whole day and they will still be conscious? It's said that ancient Rome, famous for their executions, thought of plenty of ways to execute someone while having the victim stay alive as long as possible.
Among them, there's one method where they would open the gut, pull the intestines like sausages, and pull them up with a winch, and put them on public display.
Shion was behind me, clinging to me. Not just because she was scared. She was protecting her stomach.
You would think someone with their intestines would be pulled out... English! You would think someone with their intestines pulled out would die instantly, right? Actually, as long as you do it tenderly and thoroughly, it's apparently possible to pull them all out while the person is still conscious.
I felt a sick feeling in my stomach. It was like my organs were cooling up just from the Takano-san stare.
Though, pulling them out with a wrench was a rather exaggerated method. In a more barbaric way, they would slice open the gut, then cut the intestines out and throw them everywhere. It's quite imaginable that they did these dreadful things like that too, isn't it? However, those being put to death are conscious. It must be far more terrifying than painful.
She spoke with pleasure, as if she had come here on a sightseeing trip. Or Shion gulping multiple times near my ears. I'm sorry.
Perhaps Himizara, or rather Okinafuchi village, there's something like that for the Watanagashi festival. Listen, if you try hard, can't you hear it?
I want nothing more than to not hear anything at all. So why? Why only at times like these do I begin to hear things that I shouldn't be able to? Okay. Takano-san, having realized she scared she and I enough at the point, smiles soothingly. Then she turned on her heel, raised the lantern, and began to walk again. If Takano-san had left us here, we'd even get further away from the light. She and I, no matter how scared we were forced to follow Takano-san along our field trip through the ritual storehouse. Well, this is a psychological horror.
I suppose we've seen a bit of everything. See? This place is rather interesting, isn't it?
She says, raising the lantern high in the center of the storehouse. The dim lighting didn't change, but for some reason, it felt like I was able to see all those horrible tools at once. Kei-chan! Look up! She stammered while grabbing at the nape of my neck. I couldn't tell because it was so dark, but there were a lot more tools hanging from the ceiling as well. They all looked like they were made of iron bars, but then I figured out cages. For cages, they were pretty small. Cramped cages just for one, like a casket. If you got locked up in there, no, you wouldn't get locked up inside it. It was another tool meant for restraining people, where the iron bars would squeeze you tightly. So many, big and large, things of all shapes, were hanging down. Takano-san's mention of execution by grilling crosses my mind. We weren't just surrounded on all sides with these terrifying instruments. Things crowding the ceiling or hanging over our heads.
There are many of these sort of bird cages among European torture devices. I'm surprised to see them in Japan as well. I also have some in my sex dungeon.
Kei-chan, is there something in there? A person? A mummy? Where? Shion desperately pointed to one of the many human-sized bird cages hanging from the ceiling, but I couldn't tell which one she meant. Being that dark, there wasn't any way you could tell if something was in there from the first place.
I don't see anything. You sure you're not seeing things?
Ooh. Shion didn't seem convinced, but without a means to confirm ourselves, we didn't do much but wonder.
My Barakun, after seeing this, have you come to believe in all of it? The countless terrible rituals passed down to Himizawa?
It's got nothing to do with believing them. Now that I've been shown the real thing like this, there's no possible way to deny it. Even with the nations of Europe, with all their beautiful landscapes and legends, were like a maelstrom during the terrible witch hunts in the Dark Ages. It's well known that the era gave birth to countless gruesome forms of torture and execution. Japan was the same way. Didn't have its own era hellscape. Well, didn't have its... One second. English! Okay. Didn't have its own era hellscape like torturous feasts because of religious suppression and things of that nature? Himizawa itself had such a period. It had that much history behind it. Even in Europe, in the land of witch hunts, that was far in the past, no more than a series of historical events, and in this age, nothing that abnormal ever happened. That must apply to Himizawa as well.
Just as Europe had its dark age, Himizawa had one too. Stop reading my mind, bitch! That's how this should be taken. Even if these things really happened in Himizawa, they're in a long past. They don't have anything to do with the people living in Himizawa right now.
Oh shit, that was Keiichi, sorry. Oops. Sorry, oops.
My Barakun, you really do like this village.
It didn't sound like she was making fun of me. Takano-san gave me a light smile. Takano-san, you're researching what... that's more my Satoko voice, sorry. Takano-san, you're researching one of those rather customs survive... whether those customs survive in the present? You are... right? She also suggested something that made my heart leap into my throat. Are you telling me that all these horrible things are still going on even today?
What I'm about to tell you is a secret, alright? I told you, Shion-chan, because you're an understanding person, but the other villagers don't want to hear it. If things go awry, I could be ganged up on and punished.
Shion flashed a devilish smile, as if revealing the morality of it.
Ibarra-kun, you keep it a secret too, okay? If this thing gets out, I could suffer Oroshiro-sama's curse, or I could be made into a sacrifice. If it's a curse, then I wonder what kind of death it will be this year. If it's a sacrifice, then I'll be thrown into the Okinafuchi swamp while still alive? It is tonight, you know. The night of Oroshiro-sama's curse.
Takano-san said, bringing her face right up close to ours, as if to say that if she had the choice, she'd rather suffer the curse. That's what she seemed to be implying. Takano-san took a fairly worn notebook out of the paper bag, then she began to flip through the pages. There were all sorts of references and newspaper clippings attached to them, and it all had matter of things written inside. The letters were very small and bunched together, so I couldn't tell at a glance what it was about.
What I really like to do is search through the Natural Library newspapers from the era, but here it is.
A photocopy of a page from some book had slid into the notebook, and it was too written in small, tight lettering. Like the other pages, I couldn't tell what it was about just by glancing at it.
This is a story that actually happened. It was around the era of the Meiji period. They discovered an unknown mangled corpse, the victim of a murder, in Okinafuchi village.
An old newspaper clipping attached to the page spoke of something that was no more than a rumor or a fairy tale.
We don't have most police documents from the time anymore, so it's all based on oral traditions and memories. See? It's not very clear, but it looks like a cutout of a newspaper from the Meiji period.
Never before there has been a corpse treated with such cruelty and inhumanity. Could it be a work of a demon? Being a copy of a copy, it was very hard to make out, but it was more than enough to make me feel strangely tense. Near the end of the Meiji period. Meiji? I'm pronouncing it Meiji, but I think it's Meiji. In the old Okinafuchi village, a mangled corpse was discovered. The identity of the corpse was unknown. It wasn't in a state where it could be identified in the first place. It was missing a head, and each limb was separated from the body. Skin had been peeled off the entire body, and there were marks that implied terrible torture in every place imaginable. Not only on that, but the belly had been cut open by a sharp knife, with the entrails completely dragged out. The police immediately began an investigation, but since they couldn't determine the identity of the victim, much less the criminal, finding answers was extremely difficult.
Do you understand what it must have been like?
I couldn't imagine such a strange sight, even if I tried. This was the first time I was ever thankful for my lack of imagination.
The victim was skinned while still alive, underwent all kinds of torture, and was killed brutally. The author here also thinks that even after death, the remains were divided and dissected between further the epitome of inhumanity. I'm of the opinion that the entire process would affirm while the person was still alive, though. What do you think, my Barakun?
She spoke in a way intended to make me imagine even more vicious things. As my brain was already over catastrophe. I'm not even going to try pronouncing that word, so I'm going to give the occasional English! However, there was no way I could imagine anything more than brutal. I then broke my gaze from Takano-san's. Those strangely shaped real tools were all around us. I wonder if he could fatally reproduce the mutilated corpse discovered at the end of the Meiji era with the tools found in this place. I want to deny it. I don't want to admit that there's something so terrible that could have happened at all. Even so, they were so strange, so terrifying, these tools. As if they had been seen through my attempt to escape from them, they did nothing but ridicule me silently. So, that creepy incident, what was it? And
the author says that, regarding Okinafuchi's village's dreadful customs, they survived the recent most Meiji days, and that perhaps they lasted around until the beginning of their Showa period.
This corpse, which, at a glance, had been brutally killed after a period of torture. In actuality, however, it was the pitiful sacrificial remains of the man-eater's terrifying feast. The corpse was just leftovers. It was so fantastic, so strange, that it didn't even feel real. Was this an extension of the legends, too? It happened in the Meiji period, though, which is just too soon to be called a legend. Also, there's a newspaper clipping right here suggesting it. Okay, but even if it really happened, it was a long time ago, right? I mean, the Meiji period ended 100 years ago.
That's all. Only 100 years ago. Besides, it kept happening even after the beginning of the Showa period. Like with the uproar around the post-war canned flesh incident. Oh, I apologize. That story was taboo, wasn't it?
Takano-san immediately stopped talking as if Takano-san immediately stopped talking as if worried about Shion. Shion briefly looked somewhat angry, but that expression soon disappeared. Huh? Takano-san, what did you just say? Canned flesh? Just then, there was a huge creaking noise. Everyone whipped around to look. It was Tomitake-san, who had opened the door slightly. Didn't I startle you?
Oh, Jiro-san, could you not resist seeing inside? This is a splendid treasure trove with torture devices.
I'll pass on that. I'm bad with this sort of thing by nature. Takano-san held her stomach and had a muffle or laughter, as if she wanted to make a comment about his masculinity. In any case, the dance and ceremony are over, and everyone's going down to the stream. The festival will be over within minutes.
Oh, that's no good. My bargain is just such a good listener that I couldn't help but tell stories.
I'd rather you not mention me in a place like this.
Jiro-san, could you wait out front? I want to take a few pictures. There are actually a lot of tools I like to bring home, but we obviously can't do that.
Takano-san took the camera out of her paper bag and began to snap photographs. She looked like she was having fun, like she was on a scavenger hunt. Keiichi-kun, are you leaving too? I've seen enough. Shion, you're good too, right? Let's get out of here. I want some fresh air. I agree. Let's leave. I feel a bit of hesitation at leaving Takano-san by herself in this darkness. But when I thought about it, though, I realized that there are different kinds of evil spirits and ghosts lurked inside the darkness. None of them could hold a candle to how scary she was. Even if a phantasm were to appear, she would be overjoyed and flash her camera at it. It seemed like Shion shared my somewhat rude mental images. We exchanged glances and smiled painfully. We left Takano-san there, bathed in her strobe of camera flashes, and decided to go and leave the ritual storehouse. Woo! Time to get lighthearted after that scene! Everyone at the festival seemed to have gone to the stream, so the voices were very distant. The voices of the bugs, on their hand, were clear, lending an empty feeling of isolation to the place. How was it? Interesting? Tomitake-san gave us a somewhat mischievous grin. He should have been able to tell by looking at how pale our faces were. I should have kept it. I should have kept it out to watch outside with you, Tomitake-san. Tomitake-san laughed so delightfully that it wiped away our dark feelings. How did it fare, Shia-chan? Were you scared? I was prepared for it, so I wasn't too afraid, but seeing the real thing was powerful. Shion spoke like she wasn't scared at all. She really had been quite afraid, but seeing how I was in a way worse state than her, I didn't have much room to talk. Tomitake-san grinned candidly. My mind, exhausted and locked up by the nervousness, began to calm itself. Was Takano-san an adult about this level expedition? You know she seems like a child sometimes. I was worried that she would be way too excited. Though Shion and I laughed, and left that as our answer. Hopefully she was only looking at things. I'm worried that she will sneak something out of there, or mess with the ritual implement too much and break something. Right, that's quite possible. She's also alone in there right now. She might pilfer something small and easily concealed and hiding it. Hiding it in her pocket. Yeah, I can see that. Shion said what I was thinking. You sure she didn't break anything? I could only hear some noises like someone jumping up and down. I was getting pretty nervous.
I'm sorry. I ran out of film. Jiro-san, if you have any more, could I use some?
Takano-san suddenly appeared while we were talking about her, taking everyone by surprise. Tomitake-san smoothly grinned and responded as if nothing had happened. He's pretty mature. I'm all a spare film. Sorry about that.
Jeez. You won't win any Pulitzer Prize. You won't win any Pulitzer Prize by not stocking enough film for any occasion, you know. I suppose that's it then.
Toby scratched his head and apologetically. Without film, we're done here. Takano-san seemed to have given up because of that too. We checked carefully to make sure we hadn't left any aside, and then closed the door and turned to the heavy padlock. We left beside it. Takano-san, you didn't sneak anything out, right?
How rude. I'm trying not to be that childish.
Click. Tamatake-san set the padlock back to the way it was before. From a curious glance, it didn't look like thieves had snuck in at all. Okay, let's get over to the stream ourselves. If we don't at least set some comment afloat, there won't be any point to coming to this festival. Tamatake-san spoke brightly, urging us all on, setting the comment afloat down the stream. I shook my head a few times, driving away my dismal thoughts as to double meaning. Takano-san, looking a little let down, kept turning back to glance at the ritual storehouse. Let's just leave it at that, right? You saw enough to state your curiosity, didn't you?
Oh, not at all. Everything I found only renewed my interest. All those stories and legends suddenly hold water. After today, I'm gonna have to change the way I look at things.
Wow, she's truly nominal. Her curiosity is really something else. Still interested in all this through and through. Okay, transition. We descended down the stone stairs and all the people crowding the stream came into view. Near the bottom of the stairs, we could clearly see people receiving cotton that had been cut out for them, then wishing upon the cotton and setting it afloat down the stream. The festival was already over. Damn, I missed my chance to photograph the best part of the Watanagashi.
Oh, but it's not too late. I'm gonna go and set some afloat. Perhaps you could take some pictures of me.
Takano-san, with an impressive expression, brought her head to Tomotage-san's shoulder. Despite his age, he looked embarrassed. I felt honest respect for Tomotage-san, man to man, for dating such a handful of a woman.
Goodbye then, my Barakun, Shion-chan.
We're going down to the stream. Would you like to come with us?
No. I couldn't get in your way. Please, take your time.
Shion waved her hand to them with an impression just as implicit as Takano-san's. Tomotage-san, on his part, seemed to want us to come, but whatever. Shion gave a big stretch and sat down on the stone steps. I'm pretty worn out. Same here. I'm exhausted too.
Kei-chan, this is your first Watanagashi, isn't it? You go on. Don't mind me. I'm tired, so I like to stay away from the crowd.
Yeah, if we were to go now, we barely slipped to the end of the cotton drifting ceremony.
My sister and your other friends might be looking for you, too. Go on.
Oh, yeah, right. They've been by themselves ever since we got separated. I feel bad if they were looking for me. Then, Shion got a playful look on her face and put her index finger to her lips as if telling me to keep this a secret.
My sister is the type that gets really jealous. If she knew I was hogging you this whole time, she'll never let me hear the end of it. So keep tonight a secret, okay?
Keep tonight a secret. Don't say things that are so embarrassing.
Not only because of that either. Concerning what we were doing tonight, we really need to keep it a secret. We're sure someone's curse might happen tonight, and we four would be the prime candidates. The loosening of threads of tension became taut again.
Shion, however, burst out laughing. Oh, that was not Shion, that was Keiichi thinking. Alright, I'm gonna get out of here before I run into my sister.
I really am tired, so I don't have the endurance to put up with her anyway.
I can't tell if you get along with her or not.
We
get along. Though she said that, her vague expression explained there were a lot of oddities in relationship between twins.
I'm an only child, so
I'm an only child, so I don't really get it. Make sure you get along with her, okay?
Right. Thank you kindly for meddling. Okay, I'm gonna go. You should hurry up if you want to make it, Kei-chan. Watanagashi is really about to end.
Shion stood up and brushed the dust off her backside. After watching her do so, I returned my eyes to the final ceremony of of the Watanagashi festival below me.
Seriously, though, what was that sound anyway? It was kind of unpleasant and creepy.
Huh? What sound?
The sound. You know, the banking sound? It was really loud, wasn't it?
I was giving her a blank expression, so Shion stared hard at me. Oh fuck! There was like, oh jeez, there's like shivers running down my spine. Jeez, this game got creepy. I stared hard at her too. Sorry, Shion. Could you give me the short version? What was making noise?
Wait, Kei-chan, it didn't bother you?
When all said and done, it was like we were speaking two different languages. Shion, explain to me, without jokes, from the beginning, will you? What's this about a noise?
Kei-chan, you quit joking around too. Really, honestly, it didn't bother you?
Neither of us was giving any ground, and both of us were staring at each other in disbelief. Staring at the other with disbelief. We were answering questions with some more questions, with no sign of actual conversation in sight. Baffled, I held in the urge to shout at her, and asked politely one more time. I'm going to ask one more time, okay? I'll ask the questions. Shion nodded silently. Okay, here goes. You said there was a sound. What are you talking about?
The banging sound. It was like a kid jumping up and down on the floorboards somewhere far away. It really didn't bother you?
There was nothing to be bothered by. When did you hear this? I never heard anything.
Wait, Kei-chan, are you serious?
Shion, as if she didn't understand my plain and simple answer, pressed me further, her expression serious. I have no clue what she was talking about, but it has Shion acting like this. Whatever it was, it gave me the creeps and sent a chill down my spine.
It was while we were looking around the side of the ritual storehouse with Takano-san. About the time she started the stories, I think it was. Little by little, louder and louder, off and on.
She heard a banging sound, like a child jumping on the distant floorboards? Wait, Tomitaki-san mentioned that.
He had mentioned a kid jumping up and down on the floorboards. He had mentioned he heard that kind of sound.
That can't be true. Don't start trying to scare me after all that. I didn't hear a thing at all. In fact, it was so utterly silent in there that my own heartbeat was almost deafening. I could have sworn that Tomitake mentioned a kid jumping up and down.
Please don't try to scare me either, Kei-chan. It was like something was making noise in time with Takano-san's scary stories. I was totally creeped out the whole time.
The chill rose from my spine to the back of my head. My blood turned cold as if it crawled up my body. When it reached my head, my mind froze over.
You and Takano-san weren't paying any attention to it at all, so I pretended not to hear it either, but you heard it, right? It happened a bunch of times, and it was really loud.
Shion's eyes were begging me to tell her I heard it. I had no doubt, however, that my own eyes suggested something entirely different. That you've got to be kidding me look. In that storehouse, we were surrounded by brutal ritual tools that looked like they were from another planet, listening to terrifying old stories. The whole time, she had been hearing a sound that we couldn't hear by herself. Should that make Shion, who heard it, tremble, or should it make me, who didn't hear it, tremble? I didn't know the answer to that at the time. For now, Shion seemed to have made that decision before I did. What are you laughing about?
I really got you, Kei-chan. I was spitting the whole time. What?
Shion laughed, saying how easily scared I was, and clapped me on the back. Her smile seemed somehow artificial and actually made me feel worse. Then, after leaving me with 2 or 3 generic diplomatic goodbye phrases, she left, almost as if she was running away. Oh, she heard some shit. Oh, that's kind of creepy, man. All I could do was look after her, my mouth agape. At the end of the day, I didn't have a clue what was going on. Shion laughed it off and said that she had been lying, but she couldn't have possibly been lying. Of course not. And now that I think back, Tomitake said the same thing, didn't he?
See, that's what I pointed out!
I could clearly hear some noises like someone jumping up and down. I was getting pretty nervous. Tamatake said, and the most neutral party present at the time said he heard something. Then, that noise was real. The banging sounds. Though sounds as though a child was jumping up and down on some kind of floorboards far away. Or Shiro-sama's curse, which happens every year, might happen again tonight. The most plausible victim candidates were Takano-san, Tomotaki-san, Shion, and me. The bustling of people sounded further than I could have liked, and the sounds of insects sounded too close for comfort. I'm near so much human warmth, and yet can't ever go back there again. That was the ominous idea that sprouted in my mind. Then, all of a sudden, I was pounced on from behind, causing my heart to lurch. Keiichi, we found you. In the next frame, she pulls out a knife. It was Rika-chan. When I turned around, Beyond and Rena were there too. Beyond sighed and said, "We finally found you! Now we just need to find Satoko." Everyone got split up this year. We should make sure we have somewhere to meet up afterwards, okay? How? Afterwards next year, okay? She didn't even say okay. Damn it! You're right. It's a festival, so we should all be together. I listened to Beyond's happy declaration with a bit of guilt. Keiichi, did you root for me while I was dancing? Yeah! I saw it all! You did a great job all the way through. No mistakes either. Yeah, that's right, Rika-chan. That didn't count as a mistake. I tensed up as I realized made a mistake of my own. Beyond slapped a hand onto my shoulder a little roughly. A gross sweat broke out all over my body. Did you do it too, Kei-chan? Did you get some kind sent it down the stream? You haven't yet, right? Is what I could feel her saying. Without the courage to tell any more lies, I lifelessly shook my head. Huh? You haven't, Keiichi-kun? You should go now, and it'll be over. It'll be over. Sorry. This is my first Watanagashi, so I don't really understand the rules and stuff. That's right. I'm sorry. Beyond took my hand and we started walking down the stone steps. Hey, Kei-chan. What? Did you see Shion? My heart skipped another beat. Maybe Mion could sense my surprise through my hand. No? Well, I sort of think I saw her. You two look so alike, though, so it might have been you. You would have gotten that wrong. We're wearing different clothes. That's right. Beyond's momentarily silence was like a death grip upon me. I just can't do anything about that, Shion. Well, if it's her we're talking about, so we could just leave her be. Beyond's expression returned to her former usual smile, and we continued down the stone steps, her firmly pulling my hand along. Oh, I really thought we were about to get caught. Oh no! Alright, time to read the tips. I'm kinda sorry guys, I messed up reading a lot of times. My throat got easily dry this episode since I had no water to drink while I was reading, so my throat's really dry. Oh damn. Scrapbook 4, Scrapbook 5, after the festival. Alright, let's read these real quick. Alright, let's view the new tips. Alright, Scrapbook 4. Let's go. Ooh, plumbing the depths. Plumbing. They use the word plumbing. Here we go. Watanagashi. The rite of Watanagashi is performed during a village... Okay. Gotta let out a burp. I'm sorry, guys. The rite of the Watanagashi is performed during a village festival every June, even now. But reading back to its origin turns up a seriously sanguine ceremony. Originally, Watanagashi would happen at fixed intervals, and after receiving Orishiba-sama's trust, they would choose a sacrifice. Then the entire village would kidnap, deeming away, the person and ceremonially dissect and devour them in a feast. The rules that determined the intervals were shrouded in mystery. This is because the ceremonies occurred extremely irregularly. There's a theory that it was determined based on the astrological fortune-telling, but it isn't too convincing. The residents of the ancient Okinafuchi village firmly believed that there were half-man and half-demon transitions, and that they were more valuable than humans were, and they forced people within and without to accept that. Perhaps the act of kidnapping and eating people was done to prove that they were higher up on the food chain. This is just a hypothesis, but maybe the red of Watanagashi was a political gun for the purpose of either being an outlet or outright diverting the attention of the villagers of the isolated Okinafuchi village. In any in case of any of their complaints or dissatisfactions grew serious. If that was the main reason the ceremonies were held, then it's easy to explain how erratic they were. So it might have been a way to, okay, I kind of get this now. So it might have been a way for people to turn their attention away from the Okinakuchi. The alleged importance of the implements. I can't find anything that gives a concrete description of what the ritual implements were like. They were, however, real, and they were definitely existed in a multitude of different kinds. One source states that the implements were used in the Watanagashi rite alone numbered 200. The obvious question, then, is why they require such a myriad of them. The rite of Watanagashi was to kidnap people through the demoning away, dissect them, and then eat them. I believe that the tools were used for dissection and restraining, but 200 of them is far too many. Generally, the tools evolve in such a way to reach a solution for a certain problem. Once you reach its ultimate goal, that is, attain a certain level of efficiency, the tool's evolution will only stops there. Regardless, why would they have created so many different kinds? One of the cultural elements responsible for diversification over time is that of entertainment. Tools for entertainment will evolve through time and branch out. Unlike normal tools, reaching the ultimate goal will be more than a dead end, and in searching for the next goal, they will split into many different subtypes. So then perhaps it was not a stretch to suggest that these 200 plus instruments had some entertainment value. This is just a hypothesis, of course, but maybe the human dissection process was viewed as a type of entertainment. The three families of the old would develop one new implement, dissection tool, after another, and each was varied, novel, attractive to spectators to keep them from growing bored. It's not unimaginable. All of them had been enshrined within that storehouse. It wasn't much longer until the night of the Watanagashi. Although its original intent had been lost, I revealed the secrets of the traditional ceremonial night within the storehouse. I can't restrain my excitement. Watanagashi cannot come soon enough. So that was talking about Watanagashi, and that she went to the storehouse to prove some more about the tools that were used because, well, she wanted to know more, and, well, she's trying to make a hypothesis of the truth factor behind the stories around the Okinafuchi village, aka Miyazawa. Alright, let's read the after the festival. This might be taking place in the hospital, actually. I think. No, the police station. Late that night, tensions at the police station were strained. In the silence, many of the staff members' eyes shifted back and forth between the clock and their telephones, counting the seconds that stifled the atmosphere. Kumagaya-kun burst in with a young guy trailing behind him. Oishi-san, I got the autopsy results. The court physician just got here. I'm ready to go, sir. I'll head straight for Gifu.
Kuma-san, things have gotten a bit complicated. They appear to be having a very difficult time determining who the victim is.
Could they have been dismembered?
Nope. Cooked to a nice light brown.
He spoke in sportive a tone, but the meaning behind his words were heavy. The staff get a collective sigh. All the way? Head to toe?
Completely blackened, it seems. Probably smells terrible, too. What a shame it has to be Gifu-san.
Cooked with no possessions. Then discarded outside the prefecture. At worst, it could have taken a week for the body to be identified. The fact that they sniffed it out tonight was huge.
Kamiyara-kun and a few others are performing a thorough night raid on Denson's Okonomiya. All we can do is hope that a tooth matches some medical records. Sorry.
Could someone buy me two
or more boxes of Ultra Mild?
The young guy answered information darted out into the hallway. We did an excellent job in finding it this year. It could be that the people who disappeared in the past were scattered outside the prefecture like this, too.
Then why not bury them? Or sink them into the Sea of Japan, or Lake Biwa, or somewhere like that?
Why, though? Hasn't the pattern so far been one person dies and another disappears?
Kuma-san, The corpse was inside an oil drum, unrestrained and cooked. They probably burned them after strangling them. They knew it would be they knew it would be found.
So what do you mean is, from the beginning, they didn't want a person to disappear this year?
Not so much they aren't related. The person didn't disappear. In fact, whoever did it seems they wanted to make a show of it.
You mean, could it be a warning? He folded his arms and heaved a long and heavy sigh.
That might have been the case that happened in town. If they messed it up, taking the victim far away and burning them alive would have been noticed. If they meant it as a warning, they should have done it closer to Himizawa. They wanted to emphasize the fact that they killed the victim, but instead of doing it somewhere for dramatic effect, they did it outside the prefecture. Did they want to emphasize it or hide it? Boy, I do wonder what Orishima-sama is up to this year.
A telephone rung through the heavy silence. A staff member nearby snatched up the receiver. Oishi-san! It's Komiyama! They have it! The dental club in Okinawa fixed the wisdom tooth 3 years ago.
What about the records?
Complete with x-rays.
Well, I feel bad for waking up the dentist before dawn. Kuma-san, get out there as soon as you can get the records for Komiyama-san.
Will do. Oh, it's the chief. Thank you for coming out at this hour. Oishi-san, my apologies for the lateness. What's the situation?
Well, it's just getting good, you see. We're all getting fired up. Wow!
Ooh, they found a tooth. The tooth that may have answers to Orishima-sama's curse that we might hear a little bit more about next time on Higurashi When They Cry Watanagashi. That episode was actually the last of what I did back in the past in 2016. So I'm now all reading fresh stuff, so everything might surprise me a little bit more, though I've seen the anime before. But before now, I've not gotten to that point in the game since, well, computer crashes, YouTube, kind of trying to take down my channel, but only put me on a strike that only allowed me for 10-minute videos. But now I'm off of the strike because this video is obviously almost an hour long. So yeah, I'm going to be reading more Watanagashi when I get back from vacation and all that. So I hope to see you all you there. And this series is pretty good. I love Higurashi, so that's why I've been doing these. And I may not be the best at reading. I hope my commentary is enjoyable while I'm reading these videos, and my mess-ups are slightly funny, though probably more annoying than funny. So if you like this video, leave a like, leave a comment, and I'll see you all next time. Leave a like, leave a comment, and I'll see you all next time. Okay.